Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak self-winding 37mm rose gold on pink dial, reference 15451OR.ZZ.1256OR.03 with a diamond bezel. I will tell you a little bit about the history of the Royal Oak, then tell you about where this watch stands in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks, then tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. The Royal Oak is Audemars Piguet's longest standing line. It's their most famous collection, and it's their most sought after collection. It was created in 1972 by Gerald Genta, and the hallmark of this collection is the octagonal bezel that you see here. It looks like a circle, but it's encased in an octagonal shape, and it is the most iconic. In fact, I would even argue that it's the most iconic watch part of all time, in that it makes this watch unmistakably an Audemars Piguet or AP. And from this Royal Oak has come many other similar collections, such as the Offshore, the Concept, the Code, all from Audemars Piguet. And even other brands have not exactly copied it, but they've taken inspiration from it, such as the Patek Philippe Nautilus, the Vacheron Overseas, the Girard-Perregaux, Laureato, and so on, IWC Engineer, etc., etc. It all came from the birthplace of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And why do I say that? Well, at the time, watches were mostly dress watches. Audemars burst onto the scene, creating their first luxury sports watch segment, and the watch looked like the Royal Oak that you see here. Okay, so that is sort of the history of it. Now let me tell you about where does this watch stand in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks. Now, as you can imagine, Royal Oak comes in many different sizes for men and women. For women, they make it in size 33, 34, 37, and 38. And for men, they make it in 37, 38, 39, 41, and even bigger ones that are more complicated. But the point being is that this is a 37, which means that it can be worn by both a man or a woman. So yeah, it's quite versatile. Now this one being one with diamond bezel, more likely, in my opinion at least, it will be worn by a woman, unless maybe you're LGBTQ or something, then maybe, you never know. But anyways, this is a ladies watch, but it's a large ladies watch. So if you want a small ladies watch, you probably should go with a 34mm, which they do have many variations of that. But this is the 37, so a large ladies, a ladies watch that is large, not a large ladies watch. Okay, now that's a little bit about where this watch stands. And I can tell you also that this generation that you're looking at here is a little bit cheaper than the current generation. This has a reference 15451. The current generation, at least as of 24, is 15551. And I'll tell you a little bit about the differences when I get through the video on the specifics, but suffice it to say that this is one generation back. There is a more current generation. If you like the more current generation, of course, you're welcome to buy that also on our website at jazztime.com. If you want this one, I'll make a case for why you might want this one, and I'll just tell you straight out right now. The reason why you might want this one is AP does not make this pink dial anymore on their 37s. Yes, they do make rose gold, but they currently, as of 24, they only make a green dial, a blue dial, and a white dial. That's it. They do not make this pink dial, which allows the watch to look flush with the rose gold. It's very like a monotone color, and they don't do that anymore. For whatever reason, they don't do it. So if you want that, this is the only version that you can get. So that would be a good reason to get this one. Anyways, okay, so that's where this watch stands in the lineup, and they made this generation, the 15451 generation, from approximately 2017 until 2022. At which time in 2022 they changed over to the 15551, which is the current generation. Okay, now let's start talking about the watch itself, starting with the case. The case itself is, as I just told you, 37 millimeters. That's from my thumb to my index finger. okay, and that's the longest distance across the bezel. And even though it's a 37, it actually wears a little bit larger than like a normal 37, because the case where it connects with the bracelet, sort of as you will the lugs, they're kind of fat, right? They're a little bit thicker, not like a traditional watch that has a place for the strap. So it's quite a bit. It just wears a little bit thicker. Okay, now let's turn it on its side and look at the profile. The profile is not thick at all. It's a very comfortable 9.8 millimeters, which by all standards is thin, but not ultra thin. You still want to have some heft to this gold watch. It is, I will say, however, a little bit thicker than the current generation. This one is 9.8 millimeters. The new generation is 9.1. Not much, but it's still 10%. Okay, and the case is is still the same, 37 millimeters. I think also I should mention, I think the new ones, if I'm not mistaken, have slightly different edges on the beveled edge part. I think it's a little bit thicker on the beveled edge, and the generation that you see here is a little bit thinner on the beveled edge. But all the rest remains the same. Same color of rose gold, same finishing, more or less all the same. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing, which is the bezel. The bezel here is a rose gold bezel, as you can see, but there are diamonds in it. They do AP does a great job of not making too massive of diamonds, but of course doing nicely done diamonds. And it's actually the same kind of diamonds that are on the current generation, so that doesn't really change either. Okay, now let's move on to the dial. This one has changed quite a bit. As I just told you at the beginning of the video, or in the middle of the video, that they don't make this pink dial anymore, and so this is the only way that you can get it. Now they do make other dials, but what are some special things about this dial? Well, let's start with the first thing, is that you have the standard Grand Tapisserie dial. All right, and that is just these little waffles that you see here. It's pink gold tone dial. They call it pink gold tone. I can just call it pink. And they have pink gold applied hour markers and royal oak hands with luminescent coating. Just means that basically you can see this watch at nighttime. If you shine this light at it, you can see the luminescence is quite strong. And it's yeah. Here's the main thing though, that it has changed. I'm not sure if it's that big of a deal, but the AP sign is fashioned in rose gold, but the words Audemars Piguet are printed. They're written in black ink. They're not actually stamped in rose gold, like they engraved and stamped there in rose gold, as they are in the current generation. The current generation, they use gold, cut it out, and then they tape it, or not tape it, but glue it onto the dial. And at the bottom here, it says automatic, but on the newer versions, it doesn't say anything. And I believe the reason this says automatic is because they also make a 33 millimeter, which is actually made as a quartz. And so, but they're going to probably phase out the quartz pretty soon. Quartz means it's battery operated. So to have the watch being automatic was kind of a big deal. And it's no longer a big deal because all of them are automatic, or going to be automatic. Okay, so that's sort of a difference. It's not a huge difference, but it is a difference. Okay, that is the dial. Let's talk about the bracelet. Now the bracelet is the standard. By standard, I still mean standard, high standard, excellent bracelet. It's a rose gold bracelet with just an integrated bracelet. It's beautifully done. The butterfly clasp, of course, is beautifully done. It's modern. It looks just like the new one. There is a slight difference, though, between this generation and the previous one, or the current one. The current generation has a 13560 OR bracelet. This one has a 1256 OR. The bracelets are almost the same. They're off by 1 digit. The reason is because the taper and the thickness is a little different. This one does not taper as well as the current generation, as in it flares out a little bit, and also it's a little bit thicker on this generation than the current generation. But you really have to hold them side by side to even tell, so I would probably not worry about that. Okay, let's move on to the movement here. The movement has also changed. This is a 3120 movement, and this one I can say is quite a bit different. The movement, I'll describe the differences to you. Although I'm not sure it really matters so much, since most people are not staring at the movement all the time. The size is the same. They're both diameter of 26.2. And when I say the same, I mean this compared to the newer generation. The one that you're looking at here has a gold. The major thing that I can say is the gold rotor in the back that you're looking at here. It's complete. It's full. There's no cutout on it. It's just a slab of gold, and it's a rotor, and it's actually engraved and beautifully done. And it's also a very good movement. They've been using the 3120 movement for a long time. It's got 40 joules and it's got 282 parts. It has a power reserve of 60 hours. Okay, remember those numbers because I'm about to contrast that with the current generation. The new generation is a caliber 5900. It's got 29 joules as opposed to 40. It still has a 60-hour power reserve, so it's the same. And it has 188 parts as opposed to 282. But the main difference, okay, the main difference, at least most people are going to notice, is that the new movement has a cut-out rotor. This one has a solid rotor. That's pretty much the difference. The parts, yes, it's whatever, but because who cares how many parts there are, really? And how many joules? Like, who cares? And the power reserve is the same. So basically, it's just aesthetics. One has a full gold rotor, one has a cutout rotor. Now, to me, if you ask me, really, honestly, that's just preference. And it doesn't really matter too much anyways, because it's not like you look in the back of this thing so often. So, but anyways, this is a review, so I'm trying to tell you the difference. Okay, time to try this watch on and give you my thoughts. Now, look, I'm 200 pounds, 6 foot tall, and I have a 7.5-inch wrist. You probably are a woman or a man buying this for a woman, so probably you do not have the same specs as me. So it's obviously going to look much nicer on you, but I'm going to just at least, put it on my arm so you can see what it's going to look like on a beautiful woman's wrist. And you can see it looks quite nice. It's what can I say? It's AP. It's a fantastic watch. I'm a real fan of it. I love it. I think AP makes some of the best watches, and especially if you talk about the Royal Oaks and Rose Gold. And I really like this dial because it's a very flush, it's monotone, and that's a very in thing at the moment, to not have the contrast. It's almost like one big brick of gold on your arm. Looks really fantastic. So, and look, you can't get this at the authorized dealer anymore. The only place you can get it is at jazztime.com. So please go click on the link in the description below and buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.